personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Aliens couldn't be real, right? Well, what about the people that claim to be abducted?
I was lying on my back on a raised table. That was the most terrifying experience of my life.
What about UFO sightings?
I would like to say that the Tic Tac object we engaged in 2004 was far superior to anything that we had on time, have today, or are looking to develop in the next 10 years.
Or what about all of the government's secret projects?
Mr. Gresh, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
I'm gonna look over the most popular abductions, sightings, and government projects with the help of many different government officials.
I used to work for the British Ministry of Defence.
And experts, also that I can figure out what is the best evidence for aliens existing. We're almost at the exact spot where the first widely spread alien abduction case happened, the case of Betty and Barney Hill. And this is just the first of many alien abduction cases we're gonna go to try to figure out if any of these are believable or if there's just not enough evidence at all. So we should be pulling up here in just a second. So we're standing right
so definitely
exactly
interesting every single time.
We were just driving on right here on the night of September 19th, 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object. Around 10 p.m., Betty and Barney Hill spotted a bright light in the sky while driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire. The object appeared to follow their car and eventually came down towards them, hovering in front of their vehicle. You can be Betty, I'll be Barney.
Oh, damn! Wait, what the f?
And then here, they see it right here.
Hand on the thighs, crazy.
So Barney, he happened to have binoculars, and he observed
Hand on the
humanoid
thighs,
figures,
crazy.
describing them as wearing dark uniforms. We talked to a dude over there. We asked him if he saw any aliens. I think he was just...
I'm not an alien, okay?
Okay. You haven't seen any?
No, never.
Yeah, he's...
Not yet. Unless you're one. He might be an alien. And then at the end of that, the couple experienced missing time, arriving home at 5 a.m. when they were supposed to get back at 2 a.m. I don't know if their minds went blank or anything at this point. We are going to be going over videos of kind of what they said and documented afterwards.
So one of them staring right at me. I feel like it's telling me to move.
That is a common alien thing. I've heard that from a lot of alien abduction stories where it's like a giant gap of missing time. Like, it's pretty common. This is what happened after that. The Hills reported physical
Yeah, because they
evidence.
take you for like... Well, we've always thought like that, but what if it's different? I don't know. We don't know because we've never experienced this shit. So how would we know really what's actually really going on? You know what I'm saying? How are you really, really, really going to know, though, if you don't experience it? So you can't sit here and say that, oh, I don't believe it. Well, you don't believe it because you haven't experienced it yet, nigga. That's not their fault. It's your fault. Maybe you just something that you don't want to experience. I get it. But you can't sit here and say something ain't right when you ain't never, you don't know. You ain't had nothing happen to you. You don't know.
Watches. For their watches, they just completely stopped working, which is very odd. Her dress did end up getting
Maybe
tested.
they're already still living with us. Maybe they've been living amongst us. Maybe they're just overviewing. Maybe they're just watching. Maybe they don't want to do crazy stuff. We don't know. We don't know.
And pink stains and powdery substances appeared that scientists basically just said was very unusual. And then
they gave us
shiny spots appeared when a compass was put
They gave
over
us
them,
those pyramids
spin
and
Something's
hey,
not
maybe
adding
those
up
are
here.
beacons.
These aliens, these advanced beings, they abduct them, wipe their memory, and then they mess up and have them have scuff on their shoes and a torn dress. Like, those are pretty rookie mistakes. They were literally the first ones to mess up. They were the laughing stock, dude. They probably still are. We have that plaque out here that's the Betty and Barney Hill abduction story. They have a plaque on whatever planet that says the Jerry and Ben fucked up story. This is where it gets really weird, and we're gonna look into this. They underwent hypnosis therapy with Dr. Benjamin Simon about a year after the incident, and he found out that they weren't lying. What's crazy is we have these hypnosis tapes. They have it recorded, and we're gonna go watch those. In addition to the hypnosis tapes, there's a ton of other crazy evidence that's not seen in any other case that we'll go over, but first we have one more spot just an hour away that makes this whole abduction case a lot more believable. All right, guys, we literally just hiked up a mountain, like, no joke, 2 miles in record times to get here. Let me know if you see a giant
Find
satellite
radar.
somewhere. Dude, this looks like a torture device.
That looks like the Phoenix explosion chamber.
Looks like a big ass syringe. The
We're about to
fuck
get
is it?
abducted by aliens. Imagine if they were just doctors. I honestly haven't been to the doctor in forever. It's probably pretty bad. Recently, I've been like thinking I kind of need to prioritize my health a little bit more, which is why I'm glad I found ZocDoc, the sponsor of today's video. ZocDoc
Of
has
course.
been like really screwed. Okay, be really, really careful. Doctors that are cleared, because I knew if we got hurt, we could just use ZocDoc. I literally used it before it was this simple. I got a root canal. See all the
He's putting it in while also doing the same stuff.
Of this place was
see,
during
I
the
see.
Cold War. It was kind of to send warning signals to
slide that in
everyone
there,
else.
huh?
It would just radar detect using the massive satellite here that we're looking for to see just any aircrafts or anything. Dude, I do keep hearing like a weird sound from, I think it's outside. So where it fits into Betty and Barney Hill is during the night that the abduction happened, they picked up a UFO here. For 18 minutes, they got a signal of an unidentified flying object. And keep in mind, we're only like an hour from where the Betty and Barney Hill situation happened. This was officially looked into by the Air Force, the military, to give a more specific description of what happened. On the night of September 20th, 1961, the radar crew tracked an unidentified aircraft. It came close to the radar, about 4 miles out. It pulled up at half a mile, was lost from the radar, then reappeared, but there was nothing wrong with their equipment. It just disappeared. So obviously I'm just a normal guy
Weird.
looking at all these cases. So I
Weird.
got a group of 4 experts who have all individually studied and experimented with UFOs, alien abductions, and tons of other evidence. They go anywhere from investigating UFOs for the
Katie
military
Page.
all the way to trying to disprove every
Katie?
UFO sighting ever. So they're going to be helping me throughout the series because they know a lot more than I do. And they're also gonna help me with the Betty and Barney Hill abduction case. So there's 3 important things: the star map, the hypnosis tapes, and kind of the radar tower. First, I'll go into the radar tower a little bit more. One of the experts, Nick, actually has a
Radar
lot
tower.
of military experience, specifically in looking into UFOs.
Radar is important, but you can get so-called ghost returns, so it's not an exact science. You'd have to look at the actual original.
It's most likely it was just a ghost reading, which is way more common than I realized. And this is where things get really, really confusing. This is the hypnosis tapes. This turns out to be a really, really common thing throughout all alien abduction stories. Apparently hypnotists, which I did talk to one, can bring back or help bring back memories.
I was curious if hypnotists could bring back memories. Yes. Repressed memories through hypnosis is a real thing. And like there was a time when every police unit in the country had a hypnotist on staff. It's not as common anymore. And they would use it for a witness testimony. So when someone couldn't remember the details of someone's face, they would put them under and then they would bring up the details.
And so what people
That's
will do
crazy.
is when they
Because people can, it's like, but you can really trick your mind into some shit, but also you're not even really tricking your mind. You're accessing files of memories that are in the back of your head. That, again, if there really is a time gap that happens from when you get abducted to when you get dropped back, not knowing what happened, it's some scary shit. So being able to bring that back is so wild. That's crazy.
had
the
missing time, missing memories, like in alien
can
abduction
make that
cases, they'll go to a
repressed
hypnotist,
memories
and the
come back.
hypnotist will
That's
apparently
fine.
help them bring back the memories. So they actually recorded the entire time that Betty and Barney Hill were getting hypnotized to bring back these memories. We can't play that at all, like I said, or else I'll get brutally copyrighted, but me and Ethan reenacted it and reworded it, and we're gonna go over some of the craziest parts. First one we'll hear is Barney's close encounter.
I'm standing there in the field, looking through my binoculars. There's a huge craft just hanging over the trees. I see these figures in the windows, one of them staring right at me. I feel like it's telling me to move, but I can't. I have to run. I have to get out of there.
Then Betty sees men on the road.
We're driving down the dark road, trying to get away. And I see them, men, standing right in the path. At first, I think maybe it's just people, nothing to fear. But when they start walking towards us, I realize we can't go anywhere.
Then Barney starts floating towards the craft.
I feel my body moving, but I'm not walking. It's like I'm floating up the hill towards the craft, and only the tips of my shoes are brushing the ground. I can't stop it. It's like they're pulling me in.
Then Betty
It's
gets
crazy.
examined.
They take me down a hallway in the bright room, lying on the table, and these little beings are touching my skin and scraping my eyes. Wanted to scream, but I can't. I just want it to be over.
Then Betty describes the star map.
One of them shows me a map like a pattern of stars. She says this is where they come from. I ask which one is Earth, but he tells me I wouldn't understand. Then he just smiles, like it's a secret I'm not allowed to know.
Off rip, this all sounds super sus to me. It's my sus face. But, oh, that was so bad. But I really want to hear what the experts have to say about this because I really know nothing about hypnosis.
While some people believe that
I don't even know,
hypnosis can unlock
maybe if we hear it for what it is, it probably sounds a lot better or maybe a lot more believable or a lot more realistic because it's coming from obviously the very victims of it.
The problem is it can actually introduce false memories. I don't think any of these people are necessarily lying.
That's possible. It's tricky because, like, if you ask a question in a certain way, you're sort of suggesting a certain answer or possibilities.
I had met Betty Hill any number of times. She, for example, had this spot where she would go to see UFOs. She would bring her friends there. They would see lights in the sky. They would see airplanes or whatever. These were UFOs to Betty. She was a fantasy-prone individual, I would have to say.
But possibly the craziest thing about the Betty and Barney Hill case is the star map. Betty, she drew a star map. This is roughly what Betty sketched, that she claimed the aliens gave to her, showing her where they lived. And she claimed that some of these stars were told to her by the alien that is where they lived. Basically, this is the star map of where they lived. She wasn't an astronomer. She didn't have the knowledge to draw this.
The fact that Betty drew this and it was able to be verified or correlated with the stars is fascinating.
And I mean, with the James Webb Space Telescope, if there is a civilization, it might be on the sort of threshold of detectability. So
to quickly explain what he's saying, Betty got the star map, which apparently she said is where the aliens live. This star map matched up with some real stars, and with our newer and newer technology, we should be getting close to be able to see if there is possible life where Betty claimed that the aliens lived, which would prove her correct, obviously. But as you can see, this case is one of the craziest, especially because there was no real cases before it, and there's some crazy stuff that just still doesn't make sense to anyone, like the watches, the marks. The star map is a little bit weird, but it's not at all enough evidence, in my opinion, to say that aliens exist.
Why a star map?
That is the main goal, is to try to figure out some piece of evidence that aliens exist. The only thing that would make an alien abduction case very believable is if there was some
the coordinates or something of a location.
Which, in our next case, there was definitely a bit more.
Travis Walton.
Okay, I heard about the Travis Walton.
More of a serious kind of an alien case here. He and 6 buddies were involved in probably the most publicized and investigated alien abduction case in history.
We are almost at the spot. We're driving through the bumpiest road in existence. But yeah, this is about the time it happened as well. It happened at about 6:30.
Mini Cooper?
PM. So that's when we're here. I wonder what the chances are that we get abducted at the same time.
Whipping around in the Mini Coupe.
Gavin actually will get abducted and probed, and he will never make a video again unless you guys subscribe. It's the rules. I didn't make them up, I swear. See ya, loser.
Man, it happened somewhere
just over
here. I tried to reach out to Travis himself. He's still alive. Wasn't able to, but the experts that I've been talking to, multiple of them have talked to Travis.
Travis Walton I met years ago, and I always called him a very haunted man.
Okay, yeah, so it's just
haunted man
this way.
That's
have you seen Travis?
That's not a good title.
You want to go interview him? I probably should. These horses could have been abducted and nobody would know. He could have seen some crazy shit.
Why is he so jacked?
Was he so caked, am I right? Okay, so this most likely was where it happened. Like they were driving on this path. That's kind of crazy. So Travis Walton, 6 other people, they're all loggers. Like for you youngins out there, it's like, you know, in Minecraft when you punch trees, because you need wood to make everything. Like you need to make a pickaxe, wood. Same thing in real life, turns out. Apparently all 7 of the men, they're driving down, they see a glowing disc in the trees. Off rip, crazy. Travis himself.
Oh, like bro kissing his head.
And he walks to get a closer look. I think I would do the same thing. It'd be scary, but like I feel like you kind of have to. So he exits out, gets struck with a beam of light, lifts him into the air, and he goes unconscious, completely unconscious. Dude, I'm like imagining this in my head happening. Like he gets out, driving the truck. What the hell is that?
The Stranger Things music be really hit because they make it really like.
Whole crew sees this happen. The 6 other people see this happen. Travis, they dip. They hit the. do the same. They're reported
Real
to law
talk.
enforcement
Real talk.
about
I'm definitely not
7:45
staying around
PM
for that
is
shit.
the estimated
I'm
time.
dipping.
Come back, the object's gone and Travis is gone, and then immediately this is when a search party happens. Apparently these other people that worked with him did not mess with him. They were not boys. But they did testify after this that he was telling the truth. That's probably the most believable part. The people that didn't like him were vouching for him, which wouldn't normally happen. I wonder how much they hated him. I wonder if when they saw that happen, they were like, oh, thank God. Bro's gone. So they start a search in this forest, which it's a national forest.
Tough.
It's a huge, huge forest. They search, get ready for this. See, if you're eating food, set that shit down. They search for him for 5 days. But then, this is where I get very skeptical. They talk to the parents, and they're not too worried. They're already big believers in UFOs, and they're sure that they'll bring him back. Bro, he literally might have seen this.
Yo, that's actually a pretty fire shirt, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it on groupygavin.com. There's also another one for the series. It's limited time only, so I would want to go grab it right now. You could post it on your story if you order it, and I'll probably tag you and post you, so. He later talks about exactly what happened while he was gone. First thing he remembers is he wakes up in like an oval-shaped, like, hospital-looking room, and he's laying flat on his back. He's very weak, very groggy. He noticed 3 figures standing nearby him, observing him. He said they were humanoid, but distinctly not human, which sounds like it's contradicting a little, but I think I'm picking up what he's putting down. He says about 4 to 5 feet tall. Damn, that's kind of short, actually.
Yeah, bro.
I always imagine aliens like tall and skinny.
Yeah.
Man, they ain't getting chalky and pale white skin. Eyes, oversized almond-shaped, small noses, mouth, and ears. They were large, bald, and had basically big heads, huge heads, which is like, that's the stereotypical thing of an alien.
Take a screenshot.
I wonder where that even came from. Obviously, the first thing he tries to do after noticing all this is escape. Leaps off the table, grabs just some
random as hell.
Cylinder thing and starts swinging it. They don't try to attack back. They don't even get aggressive.
There's no
They
way
just
he
dip.
woke up
But
and just
yeah,
started
so
fighting
he
back.
describes like going around the ship, seeing some different rooms with symbols and like electronics that he doesn't recognize. It literally sounds like bro's on the Millennium Falcon. They put like a clear mask over him and he starts to lose conscious. And then finally, he returns to Earth. And he's just wakes up laying down on some hard floor. He realizes it's the highway. He goes over to the gas station right next to him, and there's a payphone there.
You know, it's really crazy that AI.
For a
really
second,
can do
I
this
thought
shit,
the
bro.
phone was not going to be
We're
here
doomed.
at all, but it is.
We're
here.
really
It
doomed.
could have been any one of these 3.
All right, that shit can really make movies, bro.
Yeah, I was literally going to do
Like
that.
the same way it's doing that vlog shit. It's like every single year, it's gonna upgrade and change and get more and more and more and more different. And it's gonna be like, holy shit, like what's actually really happening, bro? Like, is people are already saying, yo, wait a minute, this is AI, and they'll be like, no, it's actually real people, and they're like, what are you talking about? Like, these niggas dead ass are already fooled, thinking that real stuff is AI now. Not that AI looks real. They think that real stuff looks like AI. This is we're cooked.
So he basically
Once they start making movies and TV
he
shows,
calls his sister
it's really gonna
and
be
her
over.
husband, and first thing he says, bar for bar, I believe, is they brought me back. His sister's husband.
But it's like, at
thought it
that
was a
point,
prank at first.
if you're gonna make a show, you might as well. You already have to write the story out. You might as well just pay people to animate it or whatever and put it together. Like, if you're already trying to sit here and like
He asked to be picked up.
AI-ify your
Found
shit.
him like slumped. So I'm assuming like
Weird.
I imagine like imagine you had the beatbox buzzball combo last night, maybe 2 of them, and then the next day you're kind of just like this.
Ooh,
And
we
they
a
said he was
beatball, a
confused and, like,
beatbox
wasn't
and a
making sense
buzzball.
when they found him. His family like days ago at the beginning had like let the news know and stuff that he was missing. And when they were interviewing like his mother and stuff, they were unusually calm about it, which is kind of odd. So I guess the family had already a big interest in UFOs and stuff, which makes it even more sketchy. Regardless, aliens or not, he's missing for 5 days, shows up, like, we're pretty far from where the apparent abduction happened. 10 miles away, like that direction. So that's walkable. So the next big thing, they do medical examinations on him. And this is where stuff gets crazy. First thing he does before even going to the proper experts and researchers, he goes to a hypnotist. We already kind of know that like
piece of his hair.
discredits things a lot. But he did eventually get examined by 2 official doctors. Most of the stuff you would expect, like the general condition, dehydrated, disheveled, physically weakened, But he was not in as bad as condition as 5 days would normally do to a human. He had lost weight, of course. There was no bruising on his body, small red dots, and the crease of his elbow resembling a needle mark. Skeptics, obviously, like this would seem like he was doing drugs or something, but there was no drugs in his system. The main reason why so many people believe this case is because Travis Walton and all the other loggers took lie detector tests. 5 out of the 6 loggers passed, with one of them being inconclusive. And then Travis himself passed, but only with being able to pre-approve the questions they would ask him, which is a little weird. But what were they even asking in these lie detector tests? And is this enough proof for the experts?
This is a man that story hasn't changed. I think this is a really good, to me, the most credible abduction case.
Yeah, he took a lie detector test too.
They were not asked, did you see a UFO? Did you see Travis get abducted or anything? They were asked, did you kill Travis? Did you harm him and leave his body in the desert? That's all that they were asked. So as far as I said, the crew was given the lie detector test. That's all that it proved.
The lie detector tests, again, there's some controversy about this because, I mean, it's generally not admissible in the criminal justice system.
For these reasons, it really seemed like the lie detector test just couldn't be trusted. So then,
come on, because like we really sit here and do a lie detector test nowadays. Like we know it's literally not going to see it. Like, is it really doing anything, bro? Is it really telling us?
Well, Robert, by far the most skeptical person, had a theory to disprove this whole case, which we were going to look into.
The guy driving the truck and Travis apparently had set this thing up, is in my view, as a hoax. They were driving back not the same way this day that they always went, but a different way, past this fire tower.
This is a crazy theory. So apparently the night of the abduction that had happened, the whole logging crew took an unusual way home that drove right by this tower. So they think somebody was up in the tower. They think they were shining a bright light down, and Travis Walton, it seems like his family already believed in UFOs and stuff, so I'm sure he did as well. So we did a little spying on the fire tower to see if Travis could have possibly stayed in here and to see if there were any bright lights that they could have shined down to look like a UFO. But then, oh, there's a guy in there. Oh, that's so awkward. Oh, dude. I'm spying. Dude, I feel like a creep. I didn't think anybody was in there. But the main leader of the crew, the logging crew, he later retracted his statement that was basically supporting that it was an abduction event. So people think that can be kind of hinting that this might have been true. Like they drug him, maybe they're convincing him that it is an alien. They might have thought they killed him. Or they might, that's probably what they were trying to do. I think they maybe put him somewhere random in the woods after when he was unconscious. And they're like, okay, he's definitely gonna die and just end up lost. No trace on us. And then when he comes back out, he's confused and saying it's a UFO and shit. His family already believes in that, and they try to convince him of that. And so they're gonna go along with the story, or else there's suspicion on them. Wait, holy shit. I low-key believe in this.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
It was either aliens or they were trying to kill him.
Deadass.
That's
Deadass still. That's what Deadass one or the other.
The hypothesis is he went up there and spent the time with the ranger who was up there for 5 days or whatever. That's where he was hiding out.
Central question of, yes, we have evidence, but at what point does evidence for this case, or any case, become proof?
This one at first seemed crazy, but there's some facts about it that are just too unbelievable. The fact that his family wasn't really worried, they already believed in UFOs. The experts seem to think it was either a hoax or absolutely real. So unfortunately, just like the Betty and Barney Hill case, there just wasn't enough physical evidence, and there were too many tests that could go really either way. There was nothing that was for sure telling me this was real or not. And not to mention hypnosis was involved, but these are just the two most popular cases.
Hypnosis thing.
There are literally thousands of people claiming that they've been abducted every single year. So I decided to reach out to a ton of people so we could review some more recent cases as opposed to these two really old, really popular ones that there's just not going to be any new evidence for. And then after, I'm going to go talk to a Harvard psychologist who has studied many abductees and has a very solid theory on why we might not be able to trust any of the cases as proof for aliens' existence.
When I was 7 or 8 years old, you know, I was up in the bedroom
shit.
One night.
Late at night, he woke up, kind of like when you get that feeling, you know, you're being watched, you know.
The first real one that I feel happened that I have on video. I woke my nephew up, there was a UFO in the backyard.
And something came out of my closet, and I saw, I don't know what it was, I can't remember anything.
I gotta clean this shit up.
I don't know what he did to me, what he or she did to me, it was. But then when they touched me, I I screamed waking up. I had to get hypnotherapy done to see.
Is that to like bring back memories, or how does that come
Yeah,
about?
bring back. I guess it would bring back memories.
Looks outside, and there's kind of like a, I guess you can call it a ship in a sense. So imagine kind of like a golf ball, like and beings, I guess you could say, on the side. And he's like, and then he looked to his left, and Lord and behold, another two were like standing there, right? And they like, as if they like came like
This AI shit killing me,
their whole
bro.
face looked like normal, but it was like their nose. They didn't really have
It's
nose.
that Voldemort
and so
shit.
they went and actually grabbed his leg, right, and kind of just flipped him over and was holding him like this.
I had one of those green astronomy pens. So
For what?
I did beam it directly at it, and it actually pointed the beam back at my face, which actually kind of scared me. And what happens next is the UFO, as we're talking, turns on our porch light, which had not worked for 5 years.
Another thing is that he actually injured his foot at the
5
time
years?
doing farm work, where he sprained his ankle, right? And then
What the? You see this? It's the AI shit.
actually injured his foot at the
Look at what his ankle. Look what his ankle just did.
time doing farm work, where he sprained his ankle.
What the hell is that?
Right? And then he pulled out this like a device, similar to like a scanner in a sense, right? And literally started to scan this man from top to bottom, just scan. He went again and like started scanning like extra, like on the leg, on the ankle part. And then after a while, they put him down, right? And so he woke up like, oh my gosh, what the heck just
What's
happened?
scarier, nigga?
The
These
weirdest
aliens or
thing
his
is
AI
that
videos that
after that, his ankle was better.
really be scary?
In August 1st of 2022, the teal UFO was in the backyard, and we saw it dematerialize, but we didn't get it on video. So the teal one tells me telepathically that I'm going to die, but I'm going to come back. I come in the house, I tell my girl there, it became an argument. Why would you say something that stupid? Left it at that. And 4 days later, at home, had a heart attack, died. Paramedics, they got a faint pulse there, brought me back from the dead, take me back to the hospital, they lost me again. Wake up out of a coma, I think it was 5 days in a coma.
Straight up,
What?
These are some crazy claims. I don't even know how to feel about this, but there are some similarities. So if we can figure out why a lot of these have similar traits, then we can most likely disprove them. And if we can't figure out why all these have similar traits, then I think they'd be more likely to be real. So I'm not
he
gonna
was
talk to the
he met
psychologist, and
the
I'm
door.
really
He's
hoping
knocking at the door
that he
3
can help
times.
me figure this out. I don't even know what my theory is at this point. I don't know. Maybe aliens are real. Maybe they're coming for me. Maybe I've been abducted. Maybe I've been probed. Wouldn't be the worst thing. But this will finally help us figure out if alien abductions can be trusted.
My name is Richard McNally. I'm a professor and director of clinical training in the Department of Psychology at Harvard University.
So what I kind of want to talk to you today about is about alien abductions and the psychology behind that.
A famous professor at Harvard University in the medical school in the Department of Psychiatry, John Mack, he had been doing research on folks he believed had been kidnapped by extraterrestrials. And it turned out that a lot of these memories arose during hypnotic interventions. And he held a 2-day meeting, the Program for Extraordinary Experiences Research. So there's a panel of abductees. We have them tell us their memory of the trauma or the alien abduction, et cetera, and then we circle a list of physiological reactions. And then what we do is that we then have we write a script that describes their experience. And then they come into the lab, we play the scripts to them, and they have to imagine them. And we measure sweating on the palm of the hands, heart rate, and people with PTSD show heightened reactions. And what we found, though, is that they had episodes of isolated sleep paralysis. But what people see can differ. It's a ghost, it's a demon, it's a witch, or it's a space alien. They would have these sorts of experiences, and then they would go see a therapist, sometimes Dr. Mack, who would hypnotize them. He'd ask these questions, and then suddenly they're remembering being in the spaceship and being probed by the aliens and all this wild stuff.
And actually introduce false
This shit. Oh, it could be it could be false though. It could be false.
We did the psychometrics on them.
That's
They're
true.
very high in magical ideations. They're also high in absorption, so they have very good imaginal capabilities. And I had met Betty Hill any number of times. She was a fantasy-prone individual. And you're very likely
when you're under hypnosis to have images that are very, very vivid and compelling. Yes, absorption is a personality trait. The higher a person's absorption, the stronger their natural skills are.
Hypnosis is a problem, boy. It really can do you like that.
But
Trick the mind
at
like
times, it can lead people to confuse images that may arise in their mind with actual memory records.
I hear it all over the
they
place.
saw these UFOs or they were abducted or things of this sort that didn't apparently involve sleep paralysis, but I didn't see those in my own research. The distances that we're talking about of interstellar travel are so immense. I cannot imagine that there's any aliens that have ever been here. On the other hand, I think it's very likely that
They definitely been here,
alien
bro.
life, perhaps
They've been here,
intelligent
bro.
elsewhere in the universe.
Been
merely
here,
because of
still
the
here,
vastness
wanna
of
be
it.
here.
This
I
is
don't know,
not
bro.
at all
This-
what I
this-
expected to hear. I
definitely
recently
here,
did
bro.
a video on sleep paralysis, and it makes a lot of sense.
remember that. We
I
watched
think
that
even
one.
some of the people we talked to might have just had sleep paralysis. And then the introduction of a
Also
hypnotist
possible, too.
that kind of confuses things, like Nick said earlier, could
False-
be the lethal combo. When those
false
two come together and it's an
imaginations.
imaginative person, it can explain a lot of them. But I don't think it explains all of them at all. I think the biggest problem with alien abductions and why we can't use them as proof for aliens is because it's usually just what one, maybe two people are claiming. In the legal system, like Nick also said,
It's generally not admissible in the criminal justice system.
you can't have two people say something and the court's like, that man's cooking. We need hundreds of people claiming the same thing. We need physical evidence. So abductions, I'm gonna say, we cannot trust, but maybe we can trust UFO sightings.
Episode 2, July. What? Hold on. They putting some more out? Oh, shit. It's coming up real soon. I ain't gonna lie. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. W fucking video.